Hi, this is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are discussing the death of technical barrier. In 2026, the distance between an idea and a functional software product has shrunk from months to mere hours, turning every business owner into a potential software creator. Joining us today is Eugene Chayko, founder of Affiniti AI Studio. Eugene is a pioneer in AI driven infrastructure, helping businesses build custom MVPs, AI agents, and automation systems at lightning speed. Through his platform and the rollout of CallSet, he is redefining how humans and AI collaborate in the workplace. So, before further ado, let's welcome the special guest. Eugene, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, Kripa. Thank you very much for having me over as well. It's been an exciting time.
Of course, I'm looking forward to this conversation, Eugene. Now, you often talk about, a fundamental shift where individuals are moving from simply using AI tools to actually becoming AI creators. So it's very interesting. Let's start the discussion by what does it actually mean for non-technical founders to build their own apps today?
Yeah. So honestly, this is probably one of the biggest shifts happening right now.
Yeah.
Before, you had an idea, you need a developer, a team, budget, months of work, and even then, it not might turn out the way you want it. But now it's a completely different thing. So a non-technical founder can literally describe what they want in plain English or their own language, or even just speak it and start building something real. So it's not just about using tools anymore. We're moving from people being users of a software to actually becoming creators of our own tools. And that's a
Right.
huge mindset shift, because now the limit is not your technical skills, it's just
Hmm.
actually your imagination.
Wow, that's pretty empowering to hear, right? I think empowering people to build their own custom solutions, removes the middleman and puts the power of innovation back into the founder's hands. And it's just I can't even imagine what a lot of non-tech founders have the imagination to create. So great there. Now,
Exactly.
Eugene, let's explore how rapid development is turning ideas into products faster than ever. So I'd love for you to explain and educate our listeners, how does Affinity AI Studio turn ideas into actual products in days?
Yeah, so the way we approach this is very simple, right? We just remove as much friction as possible between the idea and actual execution.
Uh-huh.
Right. So most businesses get stuck like in planning, like overthinking, long development cycles. What we do is to take an idea and quickly turn it into something real. We break it down, we define what the outcome should look like,
Yeah.
and then we just use AI assisted programming to actually build it and build it fast, right? So instead of waiting for months, you can have a working app, a dashboard, an AI agent, or just a full backend workflow in days or just weeks, right? And once you have that first version, you can start using it right away and improve it from there. So the biggest thing we give people is the momentum, so they
Mhm.
stop thinking about the idea and they start actually living inside of it.
That's pretty interesting. I think shortening the development cycle, right? It allows for rapid testing and pivot points that ensure that the final product actually solves the business's pain point. I'd also like to discuss, Eugene, how AI agents are working alongside teams to boost the overall productivity. So what will work look like with AI agents and humans working together? When you imagine that scenario, just paint that picture for me and our listeners.
So I think the work is gonna feel very different in a good way. Okay. Every
Hmm.
person, like every team, every department will have their AI agents working alongside them. So those agents would handle the repetitive, the boring stuff, the
Hmm.
follow-ups. Nobody loves it. Scheduling, data processing, and even parts of sales and support, right? And the humans will focus more on like decisions, creativity, strategy, relationships. And the other big shift is that people won't be stuck inside the generic tools anymore. They will have their own apps, their own dashboards, their own
Hmm.
assistants built specifically for how they work. So instead
Right.
of people adapting to systems, the systems will adapt to people. And that's where things get very powerful.
Yeah, it's the reverse that is happening right now.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
on this note, before we go any further, here's a special message for all of our listeners, specifically for all the entrepreneurs listening to this. In 2026, the biggest mistake you can make is waiting for a developer to build your future. The tools are already in your hands, whether it's an AI dialer like CallSet or a custom internal dashboard. The barrier to execution has vanished. You don't need $1 million budget to innovate. You need the curiosity to become a creator. So stop being just a user of technology and start building the specific systems your business needs to scale. The future belongs to those who build. On that note, let's also discuss the common mistakes that a lot of businesses make when adopting AI. I'm sure from your extensive experience, on top of your mind, what's the biggest some of the mistakes that companies are doing over and over and over again when it comes to adopting AI? And is it just the mindset or something else also?
Yeah, I see that a lot. Okay. So the biggest mistake is thinking that AI is a solution by itself. Okay.
Hmm.
Companies jump into tools. I've done that too. You've done it. We try everything, but they don't actually have a clear direction. AI is just a tool. You still need to have vision,
Yeah.
decision making, and understanding what you're trying to achieve. And another mistake is overcomplicating it. There's so many tools out there right now, and people think, they need all of them. But
Mhm.
really, it's about asking which tool actually moves my business forward. So the companies that win, they're not using most AI. They're just
Right.
using it intentionally.
Definitely, I think that's very well articulated. Avoiding the hype and focusing on practical, data-driven automation ensures that AI remains a tool for growth rather than just another distraction that your team now has to do because you've integrated that into the workflow, right? So that intention is very important here. Finally, let's now discuss and explore how CallSet is redefining communication infrastructure with AI. So, from a layman's perspective, firstly, what is CallSet and how does CallSet improve business communication with AI?
So we built a call set. Actually, it came from a very real problem. Businesses, especially sales teams, the call centers, they can always keep up with the volume. So
Yeah.
the calls get missed, leads drop off, and essentially opportunities are lost. And there's a huge cost for an opportunity. So what CallSet does, it adds like an extra or an AI layer into that communication. So
Hmm.
for example, if the call comes in and it gets answered or no human is available, an AI agent will step in instantly. So it can talk to the customer, qualify them, answer basic questions, and then
Yeah.
pass them to a human if needed. So now instead of losing opportunities, we're capturing everything. So the teams become way more efficient without needing to add extra staff, or scale the headcount.
Right. No, it's again such a great initiative because democratizing the ability to build voice AI systems means that even small businesses can provide enterprise level support and outreach, right? And usually, as an SMB owner, you're really tight on budget. So, to be able to afford that kind of, reach is something that's going to come very handy for a lot of entrepreneurs and founders out there. I'm loving this conversation, Eugene, and definitely we'd love for you to be back, hopefully, for an in person episode, the next that we do. But for now, before we let you go, if there's one final piece of advice that you have for our listeners today, specifically, what would you tell the founders who are without technical skills but who still want to build software, the non-tech founders? There's literally nothing stopping them, right? So what will you whisper in the air after this podcast? What should they do?
Honestly, just start. Don't
Yeah,
wait until you figure it all out, or you feel ready. You don't need to know to code anymore. All you just need to know what you want to build and
yeah.
why it's gonna matter, right? So start small, build something simple, test it, and use AI to help you think, help you build, help you explore, and the biggest shift in is actually mindset. So you're not just a user anymore. You can
Yeah.
actually create. And once that clicks, everything changes.
So definitely, the power that comes with being a creator is unmatchable, and things have never been easier, right? It has never been a better time to be an entrepreneur, I'd say. And that is also, your answer is a great reminder that in today's world, the only real limit to what you can build is your own imagination. So, thank you so much for joining us, Eugene. It was such a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Kripa. I appreciate it.
All
Bye-bye.
right, that was Eugene Chayko from Affiniti AI Studio, a masterclass in how to stop being a user and start being a creator by leveraging the rapid power of AI assisted development. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. And lastly, a very special thank you to our podcast partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMBs across Canada. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.